Hi everybody, welcome to Watches with Dennis, and today we are going to talk about the Royal Oak Concept Black Panther Flying Tourbillon from Audemars Piguet, or AP. What is going on? I'm going to carve this video up into three chunks. First, we're going to talk about the specs of the watch. Then, we're going to talk about the notion of AP entering into a collaboration with a comic book company. And then third, I want to just give some thoughts on the approach that they took with the watch itself. So, specs, running through these really quick. This is a 42 millimeter watch. It only has water resistance of 50 meters. The dial has a white gold sculpt of Black Panther, and there are white gold hour markers. They have a black PVD coating on them. The watch's crown and bezel are black ceramic. It comes on a purple rubber strap. The case itself is titanium. They've used titanium satin brushed inserts. The watch movement is the caliber 2965. That's a manual wind movement. It has a frequency of 3 hertz and a power reserve of 72 hours. The only complication is the flying tourbillon. Otherwise, it simply tells the time. And this is a limited edition piece of 250 units, which, if my conversion is correct, would run about $163,000 US. So I say what about this because it's so odd on the surface to see a collaboration between Marvel and AP. And so that's our second piece here that we're going to explore. I've seen a lot of criticism about the partnership, the idea of doing a collaboration, not just a collaboration, that's pretty common for all levels of companies, but a collaboration with a comic company. And I think that there's a sense that it's beneath AP. Now, on the surface, I would ask myself first, okay, so does that mean it's wrong for sort of, I'm going to air quote, fun characters, fun ideas, things like comic books, things like games, to be partnered with watch companies? And we know they do them. And so the next question would be, does that disparage the brand, the watch brand, when they enter into such a collaboration? Maybe sometimes it does happen. But on the flip side, if I look over at, say, Seiko and see that they are doing a Street Fighter collection or their Naruto collection, it does not seem to have diminished the prestige of the brand in any way. So that really only leaves that AP is being held at a different standard than, say, a Seiko. That Seiko's more mainstream, AP is a high-level luxury brand, and so the expectations are higher. But I would say why? I don't see any harm in this. I don't see any reason to be upset with AP deciding that they're going to do a comic book collaboration. So for me, at least, on the surface, I have no problem with this notion. Yes, it's a Holy Trinity company. What does that mean? It means they do a lot of complication work, which is in this watch. It's not the most complicated watch, but it does have a flying tourbillon in it, which is no small feat, which I should probably take a moment real quick for those watching the video who are probably wondering, what is a flying tourbillon? A tourbillon in and of itself is a balance wheel that is rotating on itself. A balance wheel is in motion anyway, so it's motion within motion. A flying tourbillon is just, instead of being attached with a bridge, it's connected to the movement underneath. So it looks like it's just sort of floating or flying in the air. So it's just an aesthetic difference between a normal tourbillon, a traditional tourbillon, and a flying tourbillon. They still do the same function. Now, we could have quite a discussion about whether the tourbillon actually serves a functional purpose in a wristwatch. Spoiler alert, I don't think very highly of the tourbillon from a functionality standpoint when it comes to wristwatches. That being said, it is an impressive complication. It's a major point of pride for companies to be able to develop their own tourbillons and deploy them in watches. So AP is demonstrating in this Black Panther watch their high horology capabilities. The thing that I ask myself, though, is why is AP partnering with Marvel? I would think there should be a goal. There should be a purpose. And I don't know who this watch is for, is what they'll probably sell them all. So in a way, this is entirely theoretical, and in practicality, at 250 units, they're going to be able to move these watches. There'll be people that want them. But aren't those people that would buy AP anyway? So that's where I'm struggling here. AP partnering with Marvel to me makes a lot of sense, but it makes me think that their goal is to try and maybe get a younger audience, bring in a different audience, bring in an audience that doesn't normally wear watches. That's kind of where my mind's going. But let's face it, when you've got a $160,000 watch, you aren't reaching any of that. The only group that would be for that isn't normally looking at an AP product line are really wealthy comic collectors or others, celebrities or people with cash that really like Black Panther because it's a cool character. And FYI, this is based on the comic. It's not based off of the movies. So this wasn't a cash grab related to the success of the film. The development of this watch started years before. So I don't get it. I am like, what AP are you trying to achieve by making a Black Panther watch, by collaborating with Marvel at all? Had you offered something at a reasonable price point, I would get it. I understand it being limited because, again, there's not going to be much demand. But, I mean, it's just another Royal Oak, right? Anyone else who's into AP is going to find a more affordable, more approachable Royal Oak that they could get into. This doesn't make anyone pull the trigger, does it? I struggle to find where the market advantage is for AP to do a Black Panther watch. I'm just not seeing it. The third thing I wanted to discuss is the watch itself. I'm okay with the watch. As I noted, while I don't understand AP's strategy, I'm totally comfortable with a high horology, Holy Trinity company partnering with Marvel. I think it's fine. I think it could have been great, except I don't know what they're trying to do with it. But I like where maybe their minds are at. But I don't like how they designed the watch. So I'm on record that I'm not a huge fan of the Royal Oak design. Clearly, this is a Royal Oak concept watch. It's going to be a Royal Oak. So setting all that aside, the industrial bezel, it's all pulling that off. It looks like a Royal Oak. Anyone who would look at this and knew about AP's lineup would go, oh, that's a Royal Oak. They'd probably note that before it was a Black Panther watch. Now, the way they made it a Black Panther watch is sort of twofold. One is the purple strap, which I'm good with. I think that looks fine. The other is the dial work. And that's where I have a problem. I do not like that they actually put a sculpt of Black Panther on the dial. I get it. It's just way too on the nose. And again, it's not that they didn't do a good job with it. I mean, the detail on that sculpt is really impressive. The value, they're trying to make you feel like there's value there by doing all this gold work. But it's so on the nose that I think that it feels a little bit like you took a toy and you glued it on the dial of a watch and you called it a day. And yes, that's me setting aside all of the intricate work that went into making this sculpt, the precious metal involved, all of that. Just from a distance, when you look at it, isn't that what a kid would wear? Is a Black Panther figurine glued onto something? Because that's what it looks like to me. I really think AP would have been better served taking a page from Seiko, looking at the Street Fighter collection, and doing something that just spoke to Black Panther, was inspired by Black Panther, that had elements related to the character of Black Panther integrated into the dial in subtle, interesting, but clear ways. Not gluing Black Panther on the dial. I just don't like it. And I think it's caused some issues. So, I mean, for example, the hour and minute hands, they are mounted where his genitals are. And that might be great for instigating a whole lot of interesting jokes depending what time it is. I don't think most people dropping $160,000 on a watch bought it for the lulz. So again, it's like they didn't really think about what that might suggest. It's a little odd. The flying tourbillon, I don't like it being on this watch at all. It doesn't make any sense to me. Now, let's say, for example, that AP does a collaboration with Marvel and does Captain America and decides that they want to try and reflect the shield somewhere. A tourbillon to do that could be pretty cool. I could see that working. Is the tourbillon here just supposed to kind of represent the technological advancement of Wakanda? It doesn't feel close enough of a link to me. It seems like what they did was, okay, it's a Black Panther watch. Let's stick it on there. Okay, we need to make it's going to be expensive. So, okay, well, we'll make them out of gold. What else can we do? Well, let's stick in a complication. Let's put in a tourbillon. They're expensive and we'll call it a day. And that's what it feels like to me. I'm not impressed. I think they could have done a lot better with this design. I think they could have really made an attractive looking watch that captured the spirit of Black Panther and done something cool, even at the price point they have it at. It's just like from a design standpoint, I don't want to say they phoned it in, but I think the idea of going with a sculpt and like putting all of your effort into crafting the Black Panther sculpt just wasn't the right choice for a watch. I just don't like it. So I'm disappointed with how it looks. Functionally, I mean, there's not much to say. I think that the watch should have at least had 100 meters of water resistance instead of 50, because as sporty as it looks, I don't think people are probably swimming in this thing, but it would have been nice to have that. And I was a little surprised at it being a manual wound movement. I don't think that's a big deal, especially given that it's 72-hour power reserve. I'm okay with that. Everything else I'm fine with. Dial layout's a little interesting with how they put out the numerals to tell the time. Given with this, what they did with the sculpt, I'm good with it, but the sculpt is so distracting. I just don't think they executed very well. I actually would be really excited to see what they might do if they're going to continue collaborating with Marvel moving forward. I'm just hoping that it's a little less on the nose and a little more inspired by. It feels so straight. I'm sure Audemars Piguet in no way appreciates being told that they should take a page from Seiko, but I think they need to take a page from Seiko here, a company that knows what they're doing with tie-ins. And I think they could really have a high-end luxury, attractive tie-in. And this is sort of close, but it's sort of not at the same time. Anyway, what is everyone's thoughts about this? Do you like how this watch looks? Do you like AP doing collaborations with a company like Marvel? Comment below. If you like the video, give it a like. If you like what I'm doing, go ahead and give a subscription. It would be appreciated. And other than that, I'll talk to everyone next time. See ya.